Hello, everybody, and welcome to Behind the
Behind the Green Room Door.
Behind the Green Room Door. That's what we decided on the name. So that's it, bro. It doesn't matter. Now they know they can say, oh, that's the show. He just said it. Behind the Green Room Door.
Room Door.
What are we doing here on this show? We're gonna give you an inside scoop on what it's like to be a comedian, the business side of it, the art side of it, why. You've been doing, like, for example, me, I've been doing it for 20 years and we're still here doing this podcast instead of me traveling the world with Kevin Hart talking about Ferraris. Why am I not talking about my Ferraris after 20 years? So we also have, I'll let you introduce yourself.
My name is Douglas Clark. I go by Clark. I've been with comedy clubs for almost 20 years. I've worked rooms with comics and the biggest names up there when they were not the biggest names up there, and developed and became the director of operations for a large comedy chain.
Yeah.
And now here I am. I'm doing
and
HR.
that's where we met. When I was doing my shows, that's where I met Clark and this chain. And I said, let's do a podcast. I want to talk about the inside of how it works, the business aspect of it. I can tell people I can tell people everything about what it's like to be a stand-up comedian, but I can't tell them everything about the business side of it. And that's what I want to discuss. Where did I miss? Why didn't I become the Kevin Hart of comedy? And we have Nick here with us. Say hello, Nick. Introduce yourself.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Nick here.
Hey, Nick.
I'm I'm trying to be up and coming comic, just running my own shows and stuff in the Inland Empire and trying to learn from these guys.
So like awesome. In any other headliner, I would grab a young comic and I force him to slavery behind a board and look up shit. Nick.
I still think he thinks my name is Jamie. It's not
It's
Nick.
Nick.
I have to keep
It's
Nick. It's not
Nick.
Jamie.
Nick. Man. So that's what this is about. So I have a ton of questions for you. I want to know, for example, first of all, the big question. Every comic is looking for work. How do I get into the club? What is a club, a guy running a comedy club? What do I do?
Well, the first thing that as we kind of talked about before, make sure you're always writing. You're writing new material everywhere you go. If you're out having dinner and you think of something, I'm a little older, so I would have a notebook and I'd write stuff down then as I thought of it, things that I would work on.
That doesn't get me in the door.
Well, aren't we getting there? We're going to be here for a couple minutes. But to get in the door, you need to actually do open mics. When COVID started, I was talking to a few up-and-coming comics through, I think it was LinkedIn. I don't remember. But they were picking my brain, and I was telling them, this guy in particular I'm thinking of lived in Tennessee. And I'm like, well, you're in the best place you could be. Nashville probably has 100 rooms, or at least big, good-sized rooms. You got to play all those open mics.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm about 45 minutes out of Nashville. And I said, dude, you got to move. If you want to make it to be a comic, you're going to have to live somewhere where
closer
you can do
where
it,
the magic
where you
is
can
in.
be on a show every night if you can. You want all the stage time you can get to work on your material.
Mm-hmm.
That's step one.
What did he say?
Well, I'm going to drive to Nashville, and I'll be on like 2 stages next Thursday night. I'm like, you gotta be dedicated. You gotta want to be hungry.
Yeah.
I'm nobody. So this is just my opinion. I'm not, you ask the question and I'll tell you what I think.
So I'm ready. Okay. My question was more of, I'm ready. Like, I did the open mics. I'm done doing these bar gigs. Like, how do I get into the club now? I'm a comic. I want to get into the clubs now. I want to do the A clubs, they say.
The A rooms? Well, the A rooms right now are filled with Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, Daniel Tosh, Jim Gaffigan.
Everybody's recouping their
everybody's the big names. I don't, they don't really need the money. They might, but they want to keep working too, and they're gonna leap over anybody who's already booked.
Oh, I've already been bumped.
Oh,
I-
yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like playing the
Okay.
Comedy Store, and then Dave Chappelle walks in.
Okay.
Whoever had the show later.
So now I'm a comic. I get bumped. Best reaction I should do. I mean, like you keep it cool, right? You don't keep it real. You don't go and say what the
No.
hell.
You
I don't
get
care.
bumped by, back
By
in the
Russell
day.
Peters, let's say.
Again, Dave Chappelle.
Dave
Chappelle
Chappelle.
walks in. You get bumped. You had a
Yes.
show,
Yes.
and it was a refried
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
But Dave Chappelle walks in. Your show's canceled.
Oh yeah, yeah. All you,
You
do
know,
is sit down and learn
you
why.
sit down and just watch in awe.
learn why you just
Yeah.
got bumped.
Yeah. Yeah, and those guys are just so.
Have you ever had anybody get upset at you like that? I when I used to do my show, I used to get a lot of people like that where, dude, I was booked for tonight. My mom's here. And I'm like, bro, like tell your mom to sit down. I guarantee you, tell your mom, does she want to leave? Because
I-
Chappelle's on there.
I have never seen. Well, maybe it's just because of who I was in the role, but I'd never seen a comic really get upset when I remember Robin Williams walking in.
Oh wow. I
And
remember
he was
too.
sitting in the audience in Melrose, and people were like, "Come on, do some time," and he's like, "No." But then he got up and did about an hour and a half and just destroyed the room. And
Yeah.
anybody else who was up, they're done for the night.
Irrelevant. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me? Everybody's
imagine?
running outside to get a picture with Robin Williams. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So right now there is no chance a comedian that's not famous is gonna get these dates.
They'll get off nights or second shows of a night.
Okay.
And we were talking a little before, and you were asking about what the things you should and shouldn't do in a room, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And it is very true that you really want to be liked by the club. You can't be an a-hole to the staff or to anyone, or ultimately
Uh-huh.
a weekend. The club has a big input on who gets booked. Say there's a fallout. Say you have a Angela Johnson booked and she falls out, for example. And then your booking office will send you a list of available comics who send in their avails, who, these bookers know who's available, and they'll say, who would you like? And you'll give them your top 3 choices. Do I want Richard Villa, Steve Byrne, Maranzio Vance, and then they will go out and decide who the best deal is they can get to fill the room. Normally, as you know, when a comic gets bumped, it's usually a paper weekend, and as most people know, it's all comps. So you send out an e-blast to invite as many people in as you can.
Does it work, bro? Does it work, the papered rooms? And that's a big issue right now. That we're now coming back from a pandemic. I'm not papering any of my rooms. My rooms are sold tickets. It's enough. And I'll tell you where I made a mistake. And for me, I realize it now because out of all those free tickets I gave out, none of those people went to go pay my ticket. Do you understand? And I told that to my audience. I said, none of them are here tonight. None of them paid for a fucking ticket.
I'm glad you see that. There are guests, people who they will only go to a free show.
Uh-huh.
And I remember, I don't know if you remember in Melrose when there was a show, it was a refried show or something, and the room was all papered.
Yeah.
And I just lost my train of thought.
We're at Melrose and we're in the room, and you said fans that would go.
Everybody that will only go to those shows. And I remember people saying, "Oh, this is my favorite show. I love coming here on Wednesday night at 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
I'll never go to an. That's what they really love to do. But those people aren't buying tickets.
Ever.
Those will they will never buy tickets.
You'll have fans that'll come and go to your show, and they'll come if it's free.
Oh.
But the problem with it is I can't live off of free.
I've got a tip.
What?
So as you develop, you start out and you paper your room. So this year you're papering it 100% or 95%, whatever the club, whatever you're allowed to do, based on your door deal. Next year, you take away 10% of that. So now you're talking about a comp amount. So you allow them to comp up to 200 tickets. The next year, you're going to comp up to 150. The next year, you limit it all the way down to you're getting a percentage deal at the door. As you're coming up in your beginning comic, usually it's something like $1,500 for the weekend plus hotel.
Yes.
So, and the club can do whatever it wants with tickets, and they'll do promotions, and they'll try and give away buy one get one free. They'll give away some tickets. Use this promo word to get free tickets.
Now, does the club make money if it's papered? Realistically,
the club will make a little bit of money. Clubs aren't as profitable as you think.
Okay.
I mean, you got 20% labor. You got 25 to 30% food cost. You got 15% beverage cost. You've got rent, electricity, all that stuff. If a club is successful for the year, they're going to, their EBITDA is going to be 15%.
What's an EBITDA?
Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It's a P&L bullshit.
Nick looked at me like, yeah, of course.
But a good club for the year will be 15 to 20% after everything's paid.
Wow.
That's it. So paper rooms, you can't live on paper rooms, but you also can't live on 95 to 100% of the door. Your Kevin Hart's, your Carlos Mencia's, your Jay Moore used to get 100% of the door on Thursdays and Fridays, and 95% of the door on Friday, Saturday. You can't survive on that. You've got
as a club,
rent. And as a club, you can't survive on all huge names. You wouldn't make money. You lose money. You're paying. Say you do $100,000 at the door, which is a crazy number, but you're paying somebody $95,000 of that. So you only make $5,000, and you've got rent, electricity, gas, all that other stuff.
It's like you papered the room.
But if you do it right, you can paper a room and make more money than you can with a 100% door comic.
Really, if you paper a room,
somebody like you, I could make more money with than I would with Kevin Hart,
because he takes most of the door.
Yes. Now the food and beverage sales will be through the roof, but ultimately, you can make more money with a non 100% door guy.
Okay, what is a fair split where the club is happy and and what people may not understand what we're discussing right now is do you negotiate, now that you get into the club, you're negotiating your door deal, meaning how much does the club take and how much do you take from the ticket sales? That's what we're discussing. So in terms of a fair split between a comic that is a solid guy and he's going to bring the seats, he's going to fill in some seats, like a Chingo Bling, for example.
80-20. 80% door deal.
Okay. So if the comedy...
And that's high, though. That's on the high side.
Okay, that's on the high side. Fair would be 75.
Yeah, comics seem to jump from
50
$5,000 for the week to 80% right away, and that's tough.
That's a tough deal for the clubs.
So what I would do as an up and coming comic, you take your deals that are $1,500 for the week. Excuse me, plus hotel. And you play your weekend Thursday through Friday, and work on those comps. And one of your questions that I saw you wrote down was, do you really need a manager or an agent?
Yes.
But you can do it on your own, but you also need someone pounding pounding the pavement every day, mentioning your name in all the circles. Agents and managers usually are 10%. So you have an agent and a manager, 10 and 10, 20% a year, what you make. But ultimately, once you are a name that is selling tickets, it's worth it. As an up and coming comic that hasn't hard sold tickets before, you don't need that. The key is writing good material. And now that technology has advanced, getting it online and going viral, you need that one bit
Yeah.
that somebody
That
they've
nail
gotta hear
bit,
it. that nail lady bit is
yeah,
just
that nail lady
that
bit.
is the perfect example of how to
make it. Yeah.
It's amazing.
I remember booking her on the show. I remember booking Angela Johnson on the show at the Ice House for Comedy Time. And that was the first time for Comedy Time, one of their videos went to 1 million. And when she hit 1 million, everybody was like, oh my God. This is the first time this has ever happened to a Latina woman. And what a great bit. And everybody knows it. And she started touring from that bit. And I remember giving her back her DVD and saying, here you go. I like it. You're going to be on the show. You're on Comedy Time. And she's like, oh, thank you, Richard. Thanks. Like, here you go. I'm just getting it back because I know you're going to need it. But that nail bit, you're going to nail it with that nail bit. And sure enough, it happened.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was the last time I spoke to her.
Yeah, she has no idea who you are. That's okay. You know?
No fucking idea.
It's funny.
But that's how it happens, dude. Go ahead.
I think one thing I try to think about my stand-up, and I think more comics, especially my level, is we're putting out a product. Like, and I think that not enough, they're getting up, they're writing, which is good, but at the same time, you gotta create something that people can latch onto online. I think. So I think that's, like you're making something,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But there's also, you got to combine it with a good marketing strategy. I mean, someone like you, Nick, could hit every open mic. You could work every night until 2 a.m. every morning and still not hit it because you got to know how to market yourself a little bit. And it's great with.
Listen, I think a manager comes in handy or an agent comes in handy when they are, like you said, producing, meaning I wasn't getting booked on the weekends. Now I'm getting booked on the weekends. Now I'm getting these deals. Like I can see work coming my way. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is great. Or somebody is making moves because really you need somebody to remind the people around the people that are making those decisions, go, hey, how about Richard? Because they're lazy. Let me tell you, those producers, those directors, they're lazy. And if you have a manager or an agent that is around those people, they are very easily convinced and go, bring him in. He sounds like a great guy.
As an up-and-coming comic, too, there are, in a booking office, for example, Cyrus with the Improvs, great guy, amazing. But you need to have a relationship with Cyrus. He's going to, from a club's perspective, we're like, why are we always booking this guy or this girl? Why is they're featuring every weekend? And then the clubs would get upset a little bit because, you have guests that are regulars. They come every month. And then you have the same opening acts that don't write material and don't do anything different. And I'm worried that they'll stop coming because you just have the same opening acts and they don't change their material.
Yeah. So basically the people are getting cheated out the first half of the show because they already saw this guy 4 times because you kept sending this guy in.
So you got to have a relationship with there are certain bookers who book the off nights and the support. So finding out who those people are with each club. Some clubs are their own, and they'll probably have the same guy. They'll have a house MC, and he'll be the MC every week. Also help seat the room. He'll bus tables, that kind of stuff. But you got to have relationships with the clubs, and you can't piss the clubs off. Because you can get on the wrong side.
What would be the worst thing you can do to a club? Like the worst. The kiss of death. The kiss of death. What is the kiss of death for you to never step into this club? Meaning, when Brogan and Mencia got into it, he was banned from the Comedy Store or something like that, or they asked him to apologize, or he just said, "No, I'm not going back." I'm not sure how the story went, but something like that. Do you know?
From what I understand, he got banned because he posted the video of him and Mencia getting into it, and there was a rule at the Comedy Store not to post. I think he put it on YouTube, I think, and was like one of the rules. That's from what I heard.
Filming without permission is a no-no.
Okay.
that's something that always rubbed me as a club operator wrong, is when there'd be an open mic or an opener coming and setting up his camera in the back. That logo in the back, the name, the Improv or the Comedy Store or that's money.
Yeah.
And we would always have acts that would film themselves or have someone in the audience film them while they're doing an open mic. And then they send videos to other rooms, Joey's Chuckle Hut in Des Moines,
Wisconsin,
and be like, hey, I'm a regular at the Improv. Here's my bit, here's my clip, and there's crickets in the background, but they've got that name behind them. And sometimes when somebody's in if I'm a booker and I'm in a real hurry, and I remember that I saw Nick in the Improv, oh yeah, let's just book this guy. So you're filling spots, but filming without permission is a big no-no.
Okay.
Another big no-no as an operator to me is someone who takes advantage of the green room tab. Generally speaking, a headliner, kind of gets whatever they want, but you'll have an opener come in and bring people into the green room. Hey, and put, can you put this on the tab? Put this on the green room. I'll put this on the green room. That is a big no-no.
Mm-hmm. Coming in with an entourage of people that,
especially if you're not selling tickets.
Exactly.
Yeah, if it's a comped room and you bring in an entourage, we're going to put a pitcher of ice water on the green room table and some Solo cups and be like, there you go, enjoy.
There you go,
all
buddy.
Right, we'll see you for your $250 at the end of the night. And then drop a green room check. It's amazing how many comics we've in the past. People have dropped a check on. They're like, and comedy clubs. It's not. It's not Disneyland.
This is not your
price
house.
of a beer is $15.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. So running up the tab.
Running up the tab is a big no-no. Recording. I had a back in the day when I first started, I had this show. It was kind of a bringer show, and a bringer show. If most people know what a bringer is, right? Bringer room.
Yeah,
where
comedians are asked to bring 10 people to.
If you want to be on my show,
you got to bring
25 people.
Wow.
And they'll make and this is the old days. They'll make a flyer, or a ticket that looks like a ticket, and they'll write their name on it. And then at the end of the night, the promoter or the main guy will ask to see those back, and they'll see how many people really came to see
Joe Schmo.
Billy Douchebag, came to see him. And if they didn't bring anybody, he wouldn't be on the show again.
Wow.
I will say there's still a lot of bringer shows.
Just like that.
I'd say even more now. I think it's really, there's a lot of them now.
A lot of rooms, I think, since COVID have eliminated Tuesdays, and a lot of them are going just Thursday through Sunday, or even Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Once they have successful other shows, they'll start bringing back those Wednesdays and Tuesdays. But bringer room's not a good thing because the comedy's not good, and that's bad for the brand. And that's why they make a lot of shows cover the logo, because they know people are gonna they're shitty comics.
They're gonna record.
And they're gonna record, and they're gonna put it out there.
But this is the thing is, if they're shitty comics, then don't book them.
But say it's a Tuesday night in Arlington, Texas. Well, Arlington's a good room.
Well, wherever. A Tuesday night in a small town.
In a small town in Wisconsin, whatever.
Where the fuck is he going to practice? He needs those Tuesdays.
Yeah.
He needs those fucking Tuesdays.
The club's paying rent 24/7. So so having a day show is actually good too. But to get people out during the day is difficult. But the club's paying rent or and electricity 24/7. So the most expensive thing in a comedy room is an empty seat and a dark night.
Yeah.
Costs you just as much to be closed as it does sometimes to be
open.
If you got a show with 20 people in the room, it costs you lose money.
Yeah.
And if they're papered too, you're getting killed.
Double kicked.
You're getting killed.
Oh shit. All right. So No entourage in the room, especially if you're an opening act. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes these opening acts make is they think, "Oh,
I made it.
I made it.
Yeah.
We're here. No motherfucker, he's here.
Nobody's here to buy
Yeah, you're here to fucking chill the fuck out. Just find out why you're not the headliner. Write shit down. Have a glass of water. Relax and go home. Hopefully you
And
don't
be
get a
thankful.
DUI. Yeah, be thankful.
And
You don't get a DUI. You know you can't come tomorrow, Dick.
yeah,
Have you ever had those moments? Somebody call you and say, "Hey, the opening act got a DUI," or the headliner got a DUI.
no, I've never had that. I have though had an act at a hotel room and gotten a call right before showtime and saying they're not feeling well, but they were hammered. So I've had to cancel a show the night of when the room's sold out.
And tell them, guys,
It's-
he's not coming or she's not
I
coming.
just said that weren't feeling well. We're gonna have to cancel the show. I've also we'll go into that later.
Yeah, but how do you find that replacement? Who do you call?
What you do normally is
Yeah.
you do a show. You say, hey folks, the ex headliners not feeling well, not going to make it. You're here, you're out. We're still going to have a show. You still got a host. You still got a feature, and a lot of times in your back pocket you have a local comic that is a headliner. And you call them up if they're not working. You come over, but you're going to do a show with the host and the feature, and be like, you got to do all your material.
Yeah.
You know, you're not just doing 10 minutes up front. I need you to do 30 minutes, and the feature, instead of doing 20 minutes, I need you to do an hour. But you do the show anyway. You refund everybody's tickets. That's a click of a button now, and you do the show anyway.
Did you get any fucking pushback from the audience? Like, fuck you, I got my fucking babysitter.
Yeah, nobody. I don't do well with cursing. To me, like on a night, just swearing at someone in hospitality will get you nowhere.
Okay.
It's the worst thing you can do, especially someone who's carrying your beverage or your food from the back
Yeah.
without you seeing it. I wouldn't do anything to piss those people off. I'm not saying it happens,
But
but
I would.
I've heard.
I've heard. Rumored. Yes.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so
So
you do a show anyway, and you refund their tickets, and hopefully you can win them over. And
what happens
you
to the
can-
comic now?
well, you deduct that night's pay.
Does he ever get booked again?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's not, I mean, like, don't
No.
tape the room, but
They're-
you
they're-
can get hammered.
They're big enough. Well, there are comics right now that sell out the room, and running the light also is a huge no-no.
But it was so common. I mean, that was one of the biggest things they had with Mencia. They said he would go out
I
there
never
and do
said
it.
Mencia.
I'm telling you. I'm saying Mencia.
Clubs hated those kind of nights that would just run on and on and on, because people outside they're in line, they paid, and they don't think about that the comic gets off when he wants to get off. They think it's the club's fault, and they want to be compensated. I got a babysitter. I'm in high heels. It's freezing outside. It's in California. It's like 65 degrees.
It's freezing.
It's freezing.
It's freezing.
But they don't know that it's not the club. I mean, I would love for that comic to get off stage and we could turn the room over, clean up, and reseat the room. But if there's a comic on stage, what can you do?
Yeah. What do you tell him?
The guests outside?
No, I mean, do you reprimand this comic? Is he ever
You're going to reprimand Carlos Mencia? No.
No?
You?
No. Okay.
Nope.
So at what level do you get to be that guy? Meaning, because this is what I want to know. Because there's other comics going like, wait, can I run the light?
No,
Even
you
though, like,
do not. That's another thing that you don't. You got to be liked by the club. When you get an opportunity to play a room, be on your best behavior. Be nice. Be great with the staff. Don't take advantage. Tip your server. Be that good person. Otherwise, people they don't like to work with you.
Yeah.
And if you run the light, say you become huge, that's great. But clubs remember.
Yeah. Yeah, in the clubs will remember people like you said. I mean, the wait staff now becomes assistant managers. They become managers. They become district managers, and you rub the guy the wrong way on your way up, and now you're super famous. But now it's been 30 years since your last hit, and now you're on your way down, and you're asking for those weekends. That assistant manager, general manager now is gonna go nah, but vice versa too, man. There's comics I know that won't do certain clubs because
Yeah.
of the way they were treated by management.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I go, I don't want to see that motherfucker. I don't want to see this guy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I guess it goes both ways. I mean, at the end of the day, you both need each other. They need venues. I just wanted to know what would make sense. What is fair? What is honestly fair? Where the club makes money, I say the percentage I like, it's 80-20, and that's on the high end.
That's high end. Again, the best comics when Steve Trevino, for example, when he was coming out, he was a I don't want to talk money, but he was at a point where he was a 50% door deal, and then we would be allowed X amount of comps. So the clubs will use the comps, whatever comps are allowed. So, for example, a comic would be 50% of the door with 100 comps allowed. So clubs will use every one of those comps and try and sell the rest and market and keep the room full. But clubs need comps. Clubs need butts in the seats. Sometimes comics don't want to give up any more comps, which are free tickets. But club needs butts. Empty seats are the most expensive thing.
Of course, they're not consuming anything. It's the 2-drink minimum that
2 item, yeah.
the two item minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And that's interesting. When you go to a comedy club, you don't have to buy 2 drinks, guys. You can buy 2 items.
Yeah.
By law, right? This is something legal.
Every state's different. I mean,
Every state, but California.
I think the Comedy Store,
Uh-huh.
even to this day, is 2 drinks. I remember going to the Comedy Store.
Well, they don't have any food, or they have like
You have to, in California, you have to have food if you serve alcohol. Be
Okay.
it popcorn.
Oh yeah, they do have popcorn
chips, whatever.
and cookies, I think. Or
Yeah,
some shit like that.
whatever. But I remember going to. It was one of my first experiences with a comedy club. Was at the Comedy Store, and I was young. I was like, "Can I have a Heineken?" And server said, "And what would you like for your second drink?" Like right then, I go, "Another Heineken." So she brought 2 warm Heinekens, set it on the table with a check. Never saw her again until the end of the night when they were collecting their money. I mean, those rooms, there's a lot more opportunity to sell and to be there and be hospitable to people because you have opportunity to get them another round and you can upsell the alcohol. And
well, that's the thing is, I understand waitress why she never came back because she's done. Like, that's my final round. I don't want to deal with nobody. I'm going to hide in the back, smoke a little bit of weed, just chill the fuck out till the end.
nobody smokes weed. Come
At the
on.
Comedy Store?
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Bullshit. So, do you understand? So, this is my biggest problem with some of these clubs is why isn't there an incentive for the waiter to come back? Because the biggest complaints I get on my shows is, bro, the drinks take forever. Meaning, why can't they be on it? Meaning, in terms of like be right on it where they're.
There are different level clubs. I mean, the Improv. I don't know. Do they have Nordstrom everywhere? I mean,
for the most part.
I mean, Nordstrom is considered the high end retailer, right? And then there's Macy's. I don't know, J.C. Penney, whatever. But the Improv clubs are the Nordstrom, and they literally shrink down sections so that servers have 4 or 5 tables and they can spend more time with each table and each guest and make it feel great for them. In the old days, when they could add gratuity, servers would want 25 tables and they'd get those 2 drinks, gratuity's already on the check, pay your check and be gone. They didn't care about upselling or making sure that the guest had a great experience. It was just volume, but then it.
So do you think it's by taking away that gratuity, they're doing a better service? Do you think they're coming back and working
what I discovered,
better?
I was working clubs during that whole transition, And the people that were lifetime servers, which were really good, but they could make a really good living at it. They went and found another job to find out to go do something else. And then you had to start fresh with someone who didn't know how to serve, and they were just learning. So you could kind of mold them, but they weren't used to that gratuity already added. The people that worked when gratuity was force added for comedy clubs or parties of 6 or more, whatever it is, those days were gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Sucks, dude. All right. So those are the biggest no-nos. What would guarantee you a comeback to the club? Meaning, how do I get booked to a club? Meaning that I can guarantee, okay, this guy wants me back. Is it just plain sell tickets? That is it, putting asses on seats.
That ultimately is what the home office would want to see, is putting butts in seats. But again, as an operator of a club, you can influence, your Memorial Day weekend. You can kind of choose your comic. Your Labor Day weekend, I can kind of hand pick who you want.
How do you get the club to promote you? Meanings, in terms, I know they promote all their shows, but it's all generic. It's always like, I have a feeling that these clubs basically have a way they do things. Like, okay, put $10 here, $5 here, $5 there. Everything's treated the same. Like it's a machine. Like you guys hired a guy just
now. It's in the deal usually. It'll be, let's say it's an 80% door deal. But it'll be less $2,500 for a radio buy, or less, $500 because you're doing print, or nobody really does print anymore.
Yeah.
It's worked into the deal. So, and a good comic or good manager or artist will want proof of that. So if you're going to deduct $1,200 off my deal because you wanted it for marketing purposes, show me that you did marketing.
Okay, so for you guys to understand is what's going on here is, if I'm going to do a weekend there, I want the club to promote me, meaning how the hell am I going to sell tickets if you are not telling anybody that I'm here? So I'm going to have to pay from my winnings at the door for the marketing that the comedy club is going to do for me. Meaning if we pay $2,500, do I pay all that? Do I split that with the club? What is the deal?
Well, it just comes off the top. So say the doors, there's 10 grand at the door and you're on a 50% door deal. Now it's 7,500 on a 50% door deal because that 2,500 came off the top.
Okay, so the top. So you and me both have to, at the end, pay for it.
It's basically splitting
the expenses.
Right.
Okay. Can I add that to my deals? Can I tell them, no, I want specifically radio time. I want specifically this type of advertising.
Nowadays, there aren't a lot of radio stations that are taking comics on air anymore. What I've learned is that they think that they're, not everybody cares who Carlos Mencia is. And you have Carlos Mencia on air, and what I've heard, I don't know proof, but you drop 80% of your audience, they change the station because they don't care about Carlos Mencia, but the people who really care about him will stay and listen, but everybody else changes the station. So they are having less and less and less, if not all, morning radio comics. They don't do that anymore. It's now social media, and how big is your social media?
Oh, yeah, I believe in that. That for now, at least.
That's how you get booked too, is if I have someone that has 1 million followers on Instagram, that's the comic I'm booking. And what you're doing as the comic, say you're in Fort Lauderdale this weekend on your last night, on your busiest night, you're doing a selfie with the crowd. Hey, come check me out next week in Seattle. Yeah, everybody goes crazy. And you put that on your platforms, your social media platforms, and you're now promoting yourself. And that's what clubs also require, is that you're doing your self promotion, and you have to share that as well.
Oh, nice. Just thought about a scheme, going and just buying 1 million followers and then just fucking.
Can you do that?
Yeah, you can buy 1 million followers. So if a club owner it just doesn't know, like let's say you,
If you had 1 million followers, you would get booked every week.
okay, I can buy them today.
Yeah, you can get bots to just follow you. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
So
Yeah. Yeah. You can get a million
I'm
followers.
really old, man.
Yeah,
but-
I know.
Okay,
But-
maybe
but I
maybe
hope-
the new number is 5 million. I don't know.
I don't know. I can buy 10 million.
Yep. I imagine that as more people do that, though, they're probably going to want to see what translates to actual seats, though, right? I mean, after a while, they're going to probably track, like, hey, he has 1 million followers, but, you know, only 20 people came to see him. You know, like, there's that. It's not adding up, you know.
When you market on social media, you can also geo-target, meaning I'm going to send this coupon to only
This area.
you know, 90180 is where I'm going to send this area, this coupon, and so only those people in that zip code will get that.
One of the things that I started using that started working for me is you start using social media as an advertising platform now. And what I do is I go ahead and release some of my material as a video and post it and promote it, meaning I'm paying advertising just for for my material. One good joke, right? And then leave it alone. Put some material that was a month ago. This is before I get to that city. And then the month before I get to that city, I now start promoting that I'm going to be there. And then I'll start hitting the advertising now with the clip, with the advertising of the ticket that day. So it generates that buzz because first they just watch the video going, oh, that was funny, or it wasn't funny, whatever it is. But when it comes around the second time now with a ticket linked to it, I feel it's much, it just works more for me because people just associate the link to this. Oh, I can actually see this guy.
Do you give away one ticket or do you give
No,
away two?
I don't give away any of the tickets. This is just me advertising my clip. So that's the key is you're forcing people to go buy a ticket to what? To Richard Villa? Who the fuck? Richard Villa, right? But if I send out a clip to, let's say, Phoenix, Arizona, in that area, or Tucson, and I'm like, okay, concentrate on Tucson, just promote this video of me. Now you get a glimpse of who I am because they're bombarding that area with that video because I'm pushing that as just to see me. Now when the ticket and the advertising is promoted in that same area, now they go, oh, yeah, I remember that video. I saw it. This guy was pretty funny. I'll go check him out. That works great for me. But I didn't know this till I started experimenting and moving stuff around. And I thought about it. You want people to go buy a ticket to somebody that they've never seen. When you said it yourself, one clip can just make you famous. So for me, and tips that I can give these guys is before you go into another town, promote yourself on social media. It's cheap, especially, for me in Latin America, it was working perfect because it's so cheap to promote out there. So it all depends on geographically where you are and how their social media is charging you for advertising. So for me to go to Latin America was so cheap because the advertising was like nickels, dimes to the dollars here. So I can bombard their social media with it.
Sweet.
See, that's it. I mean, that's one of the ways. But now what I need is clubs. I need club owners now for me. Where I'm finding my problem is I need club owners to give me a chance to go, Richard, show us what you can do.
Advanced sales, ticket sales is how you're judged.
Yes, and this is the platform. I mean, this is the process that I'm talking about. How do I get advanced sales tickets? Is you give me a weekend and then I promote my video 2 months before I'm there. Then I promote my video a month before I'm there again with a ticket link. But I need those dates.
But you need to have those solid followers. Meaning you're not going to get those dates unless you have a gazillion
followers. That is
and
true.
Sure, you could buy them, but they're all going to be they're in Russia, they're in China, but so if they geo target it down to what's in Los Angeles County, and there's only 1,000, but yet they're.
We were having a discussion the other day, and you said you prefer clean comics.
Yeah. It's
Why?
Funny you bring that up.
Yeah. Tell me why.
Well, being in a lot of
Does it matter, by the way, with the comedy club, the guy that runs the comedy club, if you're clean or if you're dirty.
It's if you sell tickets.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. So if he is filthy dirty and he
That's
sells
it.
ticket, you're okay with it?
However, I see a lot of up and coming comics that feel they have to swear every other sentence. And if you're not a legitimized comic yet, don't do that. There are so few clean comics that you can book. I'm drawing a blank on all the comic names, but there's only a few. Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
That don't really swear. To me, it's more difficult to write a joke that's clean and is generally funny than it is. You see these up and coming comics; they'll tell their joke and oh fuck it, and the crowds that come to a free show, they laugh at that. You know, the swearing. But the crowds that come, they pay for a show. You know, they're like, make me laugh.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to stand for someone all he does is swear.
Yeah, and we discussed that. So what the difference is if you're a headliner, that's what you're saying. If you're a guy that sells tickets and you're a legitimate comedian, I'm okay with your swearing.
Yeah, there's only one Joey Diaz.
There's only one Joey Diaz.
There's only one Joey Diaz.
Okay, exactly.
But you want to talk about filthy Joey Diaz.
Joey Diaz.
But you got to love that guy. That's just him.
Yeah.
But if you swear a lot, you kind of look like you're trying too hard to me.
Well, that's what we discussed. I think I said, and you even said it, these young up and coming comics using cursing as I think it's a crutch. And you're right. They're not, the vocabulary is not that well expanded where they're like, oh, I can use this word or I can do this, or they run into trouble in that. Fuck. It gives them a moment to think.
It's like an
instead of And Jeff Garcia told me that. Jeff Garcia, comedians, young comics use it as a moment to think and what's next? What do I want to say again? But once again, I think it's the young ones that use it as a crutch. I think as you get older as a comic, you realize the story is a lot better. It's the joke structure is a lot better. If I can really make them laugh with this shit, you know, I get it. But you personally, you prefer comics that just don't curse. Does the club give any word in that? Can a club say, "Hey, I'm Christian," or
they have a clean comedy night. They have a Christian comedy night, and there's I don't want to. I can't say names.
Oh God, you're holding yourself back.
Yeah. There's one comic that just was. It was a Christian night, and this comic. I've only thrown a few comics out, but this guy I sent packing because he just. I don't remember the joke he was on, but he's fucking. Blah, blah, blah.
It was a Christian night.
It was a Christian night, and you could just see the people kind of squirming, and I'm in the back, we're lighting him in the back. We're like flickering to get him off stage, and he just kept going and going, and I had to send him home.
Yeah, I think I remember that. People were talking about that. Rumors going around. Oh man, Clark.
Well, this comic wasn't that. Still isn't that big a deal. But I wonder why. He thinks he is. But
okay. Oh my God.
Anyway.
So, but he knew it was a Christian room, yet he still decided, I'm gonna rip it.
I personally told him that I might have just said church. I don't know if I said anything else. I'm like, it's a clean comedy night, and he went up and he got booed. I mean,
know your audience too, man.
You got to read your room,
or say no, man, I won't do it. Like as a comic, would you have more respect for him if he would have said, "I'm"? Well,
you got to have a TV set. Everybody's got to have a clean set because you're going to come up on those nights.
Yes. But I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I can see the point of view where they go, well, then it's not me. You're telling me to play somebody else.
This was a feature.
Oh, this was a feature guy? It's not a headliner? I keep thinking, okay. So
this one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a feature.
Okay.
You don't.
You're the middle act, so
nobody's here to see you.
Yeah, nobody cares, so.
Nobody's still there to see him.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Okay. Material. Stealing material. If I go to a club, I'm doing somebody else's material. You're the club owner or the manager of the club. Do you fire me? Do you?
No, I've run into this, and I just said, hey, so and so has a bit a lot like that, so you might want to reword it. But these are also comics that aren't at that headline level, these top level. But I'll remind them that so and so has a bit very similar. You want to be careful.
No, at that level, at these.
Well, I don't. I know the thing with Mencia was that he stole. I've never heard a joke that I've heard from somebody else by him.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I've never, Carlos Mencia. I don't remember ever seeing him do a bit that I saw somebody else do.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm not out in Hollywood.
Yeah.
When you're a comic in Hollywood and you're able to go to the store and the factory and the improv, they have comics doing 4 minutes, 5 minutes. And so they'll have one show from 8 to 9:30 and you'll have 15 comics on there.
But I think with Mencia, what it was is that he had developed this, bad reputation of being a bad guy, like coming in and doing 3 hours. And then, they were hearing that he was doing Ari Shafir's joke and he was doing so-and-so's joke. And so that bitterness started building up, that anger started building up when Mencia would come in and just being really cocky around these guys, I guess. And so nobody really wanted to be his friend. And Rogan, embraced all the Comedy Store guys, and it was the, asylum, and he was running it. And Mencia now was wanting to go back in and do what he used to do before. Or what Eddie Griffin and all those guys used to do back in the early 90s when Mencia was coming up. Now that he has a TV show on Comedy Central, well, now he feels like I can do more. This is my house. But Rogan had already stepped in.
Ego. Yeah.
There was ego there. So that was that thing. Nobody had his back, honestly, because a lot of people have been accused of stealing material, but nobody went as hard as they went with Mencia. You know what I mean?
Well, when you're at the top of your game, you got a target on your back.
Yeah, that's it.
Look at Hart.
But as club owners, you guys don't get involved. Do you ever get comedians go, hey, don't book that guy, he does my shit?
Nope.
Because I know that George Carlin would sue people. He sued a comedian for stealing his material. Nope. So club owners won't care.
Nope.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. If you sell tickets, you're going to get a weekend.
Sell tickets. Oh, wow. That's crazy. So somebody can just steal the entire act and come in and...
Well, I mean, there are comics that bought acts, and that brings me back to the very beginning that we were talking before we started recording.
Yeah.
Is that there are some comics that are born to only be a writer. You're not going to have that. You don't have that showman personality.
Yeah, but he wants to be a comic. Do you understand?
Well, so if you write a lot of good material, you can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
I've come in contact with a few comics who know of comics in other countries that have full sets, and they'll sell them the whole set. So, like if I do only English material here, and somebody wants to be that exact same person in Russian, I sell my material to that.
Well, I did hear of a guy that said, and look this up, Nick, maybe it does exist, the Armenian or the Middle Eastern Jerry Seinfeld, and he does all of Jerry Seinfeld's bits.
Hilarious.
He does everything. Everything. The Jerry Seinfeld.
You sue him?
Huh? No, he met him. He met him. He's like, awesome. Yeah, how's it going? Yes. I'm you. I'm the Jerry Seinfeld of this. He's like, what? Yes, I'm you. No, you can't be me. I'm me.
I wonder if I used to ask, how you have cover bands?
Yeah.
You could do cover comics.
Cover.
I would go and do all of Ralphie May's material.
Yeah, okay. For example, Ralphie May, can you buy the rights to everything with like a whole full hour of his material?
Or do you just take old bits and just rewrite them and do his set? Or are you in Spanish? Do you take Ralphie May's bits and just go do them in Spanish? And
it goes back to comedy being an art form, meaning Is it a Van Gogh if you just copied Van Gogh's painting?
But
Is it
would you go see who's an artist you like, a band?
Yeah. Okay.
Name one.
Metallica.
Journey?
Metallica.
Would you go see a Metallica cover band
Yes.
if they were either free or cheap down the street?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So what's the difference between you're talking your artist and what's the difference between going and seeing
the difference is that
Jerry
the
Meinfeld.
guy that wrote it took 10 years to write it,
Sure.
and you just took it. Meaning now you're getting money, you're getting paid for something that took me 10 years to develop.
So you're telling me that every cover band that plays a song is paying a royalty to
No.
the original artist?
No. They're not.
Why is it different?
Because I'm not making any money yet. You know what I mean?
Okay, you're Metallica.
Like no. Meaning I'm a cover band too.
Okay.
Meaning I'm broke. Do you think Kevin Hart cares if a young comic's doing this material? He doesn't care. He doesn't even go on Twitter and say, "Hey, stop doing it." He lets his fans take care of that. You understand? Yeah. When you're broke, the problem is you're broke and it's been 10 years and you've been working on your material, and there's another comic that just started and says, "Hey, fuck it. I like his stuff." And I'm broke, bro. And now you become famous with my hard work. Yes, you can present it better, but that doesn't mean give you the right to take it away from me. Just because I wrote the song, I wrote the song. Doesn't mean because you know how to play it better and sing it better, doesn't mean it's your song. It still took me years to write it. So it's not fair. Now, if you're in agreement with me and you say, "Hey, is it okay if I use it? Or can I pay you so I can use it?" All right, fuck it.
But isn't it true that whoever puts it on TV first,
yes, whoever
owns the bit, because then you look like the joke thief.
Yes.
When you do your bit that someone else did or very similar, you look like the joke
thief. Yes. But that's the thing is you can't. That's the thing is you go to the Tonight Show and you do my bit. For example, me. That young comic that started yesterday gets my full 1 hour, and he gets on the Tonight Show.
But what do you do as a comic? What can you do?
What can I do? That's the thing. I'm asking you as a club. Does the clubs protect the comics when somebody else is doing their materials? And the answer is no. The club won't protect the comic in terms of copyright infringement.
I'm specifically talking about road clubs, though.
Yeah.
We call road clubs not Hollywood.
Oh, yeah,
because again,
of course.
Hollywood road clubs don't see as many comics as you would in Hollywood. So
well, I mean, I also hear about the cruise lines that the guys that are on the cruise lines,
comics go to die.
They go to die first, and
that is, yep.
And second,
they take somebody else's material.
That's where they do somebody else's bit. Because, dude, this is.
But it's like a cover band. I mean,
it's your cover band.
If you go, I've heard. Comics that end up playing cruise lines.
Yeah.
That's their last. That's it.
That's it.
You're done. You're never gonna play a room.
Yeah.
But just like a cover band on a cruise line, you would go see, Metallica on your Carnival cruise.
Yes. I would go watch them.
What's that heavy metal mariachi band? That's awesome.
But I get the point. So writers that are actually just go, "Here, take my fucking
No,
set."
they sell it.
They sell it, right?
They sell the material.
Okay, if they sell the material, that's fine. Great, bro. What does it take for a young comic to get started? Like, besides writing, do you think he needs a manager right away? When do you need a manager? Like, when is that the next step?
When you're negotiating percentage deals is when you need a manager. If you're a $3,000 a week comic, and that means a weekend, that's pretty successful with comps.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty successful one. Right about after that stage, when you start doing percentage deals, is when you need someone negotiating for you, because you have already built relationships with the club. So me, as a club person that runs the club, we're kind of friends, and I know that the club needs to make money because I have a bonus based on the percentage, how much the club makes over expenses. So I'm going to be like, I know you sell tickets now, but just come do a weekend and couple grand. We'll give you a couple grand for the weekend, and then I will work hard to sell hard tickets,
Mm-hmm.
and I negotiated a couple grand for you. And we did 15,000 at the door.
So instead of walking away with 3,000, you walk away with 15,000.
Well,
walk away with whatever
the
percentage.
club makes that, but then you get expenses.
Yeah, but I mean 3 days, the whole
It-
weekend.
If you sell 15,000 a weekend in hard tickets, you should at least be on a 50% door deal.
Okay, it's not bad. Yeah.
But you got to allow comps, and you got to be
Mhm.
okay with allowing some comps. Again, the comics that you clubs really want to work with are those that are more flexible with comps and give comps when they're needed, because they are.
Mhm.
So if you can also decide how many comps are given on a
why
night in
why
a show.
why are those important? The comps. It
'Cause we need-
guarantees a full house.
Well, you want food and beverage sales.
Mhm.
You don't want empty seats, and you're trying to build the comic. What a lot of comics don't see, like maybe, I don't know, if you're saying you won't give any comps out,
Mhm.
that might be you. We're also a brand that's trying to build you. The comic is what the clubs sell. That you're the product. So we want to sell more, and we
Mhm.
want you to be able to come back the next year or in 6 months or 9 months and sell more. And more people that get to see you. You're going to go to work on Monday and be like, man, I saw Richard Villa
Mhm.
on Friday night. I couldn't believe it. And now you're following Richard Villa on social media. And then you announce that, all right, I'm going to be back there February 14th
Mhm.
for the weekend.
What
And I'm going to go.
can another comedian force you not to book another comedian?
Not at the club level, at the the booker level. There are comics that we haven't booked. Yes.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I know you're
Yeah.
being very vague of it.
Well,
but
I mean, has it happened? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
let's say one comedian goes to corporate and says, "Hey, if
yeah, I'm
you
not
work-
playing your to the booking to Aaron von Schoenfeld, for example.
Yeah,
I'm not playing your room if you book
so and so.
Cat Williams.
Yeah.
But then the club will be like, I'm booking Cat Williams every week. I'll book
Yeah.
Cat Williams every day, every night, every week.
Yeah.
And the clubs will be like, no, it's a nightmare.
Uh-huh.
But Cat Williams sells tickets.
Exactly. So what do you do?
As a club operator, it's a nightmare.
Yes. All right. All
But-
right.
Don't be a nightmare. That's another way you get, or you get so famous that they'll book you anyway, and you can be wherever you want. You
Yeah.
can show up late. You can.
But one comic
Piss in a
could
bottle
a,
and-
a famous comic can literally blacklist a young comic. Meaning
Could.
somebody with no power.
Yep.
A big comic and go, I'm gonna end you. And he
If-
says, I'm gonna
if-
end him.
If
If-
I can't think of a. All comics are nice, so I can't.
Yeah,
think
all
of,
comics are very
can't
nice
think
and
of-
nice, but
would never do something
but a
like
big
that.
name comic can
Could.
go and shit.
End someone's career. Absolutely.
Really.
Mhm.
I mean, shit. Look at what they've done to Mencia's reputation. Just
He
shitting
sells
on
out
air.
week. He sells out
He
weekends.
sells out.
He takes a shit ton of heat on social media, though.
He
It's
does.
so funny, yeah, because people will still call him
A
Carlos
hack.
Mencia or whatever, and they've never even seen him before. They
Yeah.
don't even know. These are every. It's one of the problems I have with social media is everybody thinks their opinion matters and needs to be heard. They need a platform. Oh,
Well-
Carlos Mencia, you can't play that room. And
That's
Nobody
what
cares.
happens when you give everybody a microphone. Do you understand? That's what happens. Being famous now, me talking to my wife, being famous is not something I strive for anymore. I want to make money, but not famous. I don't want to be famous. I'm trying to avoid to be famous. I understand that comes if you want money, but to be famous, it's not what it used to be. Do you understand? Now you're just a big target
I
because
know, 'cause
everybody
I
can
am.
be famous. Everybody can be famous.
I know if you could, they would. But you've seen pictures of comics trying to have dinner out with their family, and there's a
Yeah.
rope around them, and there's 500 people screaming while you're just trying to have dinner.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's a choice you made, though, as a comic. That's
Yes.
you gotta sacrifice that.
So is it worth it now? I understand it's worth that sacrifice, me not being to have a comfortable dinner, because through closed doors, I'm an animal and I can do whatever I want and I can do this and do that. But now with social media, everything's being judged now. So you're supposed to not only be famous, but now you also have to be perfect.
And take pictures with everybody.
Do you understand
And
that?
everybody has a
what's-
camera.
Yes, yes.
You know, come on, just give me the picture. And then if you say no, you're an asshole.
You're a dick.
Yeah.
You understand? So is it worth it now? Is it worth the fame? Because ultimately,
Well, the money comes with that. So you just know that once you blow up big enough, you're gonna have to buy out the restaurant to have dinner. You got the money though, so why not?
yeah, that or order the chef to come to your house and have dinner there. Yeah, that's true. I was gonna ask you something else. I wanted to ask you. It wasn't about this. Oh, I'm blanking the fuck out right now.
Happens to me all the time.
Oh my god, it's getting old. It's the price of getting old, man.
You're just a kid, man.
Oh my god, I wish, man. That's the thing too. As at what age does a comedian need to stop working?
Never.
Never, right? That's what I told my wife. I don't think I ever have to stop working.
Nope.
I can keep doing.
If you want to
comedy.
work, you work. If you don't, you don't. You know,
Witherspoons.
Once you're John Witherspoon.
John Witherspoons. How was it working with him?
I love John Witherspoon.
Really?
So nice, so good.
Really?
Sitting in the green room, he'd have his bottle of Merlot, and we just talk. And yeah,
yeah,
he's
dude.
great.
He
And
would-
he'd every show he'd open up all of his Friday bits. You know,
Yeah.
he'd start. That's the first couple of minutes was all Friday bits to get the audience pumped up, and
Uh-huh.
his he had a lot of the same material over the years,
It
but
was-
you love it. Pops, you loved him for that.
yeah. And he sold his picture.
Yep.
Oh.
20,
Twitter.
not 20. It was a picture in a CD, or he did bow ties, or he did
Yeah. He
all
would
kinds of
always
stuff.
sell shit.
20. Picture with him with a Kodak
Uh-huh.
picture, or his CD or something.
Uh-huh.
20, not 20. Meaning,
Yes.
don't be cheap. You buy one or the other. Or
And
both,
and
but they're
and
20.
when I heard that he sold this photo, I said, "Look at that motherfucker! You don't give a fuck about fame. He just cares about money." Like, I love it. He doesn't care what people think. He says, "Look, I build an image, and this image is worth so much, and I know you're gonna use it for your social media, so you can flaunt." And
doing it on stage with the club brand behind it, that is,
yeah,
it's like step and repeats back in the day. You know what a step and repeat
yeah,
is?
of course.
Step and repeat is a backdrop. You
Mm.
take photos. Every club should have a backdrop with their
Logo.
logo or their location and their location on it. So many people with social media. If you are a Joe Coy or you are
Mhm.
Gabriel Iglesias, you have your own step and repeats. You got your
Mhm.
own merch. I want to say that, like Joe and Gabriel Iglesias, I think they make more money on their merch than they do in the weekend. The line's just hours long.
Yeah.
The second show of the night has started, and it's almost time for the act to go up, and we're going out there. You know, anybody, Gemma, we need Joe in the room,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's still a long line. And
Yeah.
and one of the reasons that I think that they've made themselves so big is that they're really good with their fans. And they
Now,
stay
Joe
there.
Coy is not clean.
Not clean, but he sells merch and takes care of his fans.
No, I get
Yeah.
that, but that back to the point about being clean or being dirty.
Well, he's made it, so he can do whatever he wants.
yeah, yeah.
He can do whatever he wants.
And you remember Joe Coy when he first started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you think it was with Joe Coy that made him?
His audience, meaning, everybody Filipino. There's not a ton of big names as far as what we know here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Big names that are Filipino. Manny Pacquiao, Joe Coy. It's off my dumb mind I can think of.
Mm-hmm. So this is what my big argument has always been with my material, people would always tell me you're too Spanish or you're throwing too many Spanish words in there. It's too Latin. I mean, CTV told me you're too Mexican for the show. I mean,
What TV?
CTV. CSI-TV.
Yeah,
And that was Pat
told you-
Buckles. It was Pat
you-
Buckles. I'm telling you, Pat Buckles told me I was too Mexican for CTV. And I was like, what? Really? And I was like, okay, well, whatever. I mean, what am I going to tell you? Now I could sue her, but back then I was just like, wow. And it goes back to, I asked you what made him so successful. He connected with his audience, his Filipino audience. Well, listen, that's what I was trying to find, my audience. And I think I made a big mistake where I listened to a lot of people that didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
There's a lot of Spanish comics,
Yes.
even more so now.
Yes.
Remember, not that long ago, you and I were
Uh-huh.
some of the first people to
We
bring
were the
in
first people.
Spanish language.
You were the first one to give me the chance. You were the first one to say, hey, yeah, dude, let's do it in Ontario. Let's see how it works. Yeah. Yeah. We did it there.
Yeah.
And look how well it went. You understand? I mean, we had to add another show that weekend with Luis de Alba.
Well, it's even more so.
Yeah.
I mean, Spanish comedy is, except other than COVID, but
Yeah.
is huge.
It's huge. Huge.
I remember having conversations when like Luis de Alba,
Yeah.
when he came, his stand-up's a little different, and you had to explain to me that it's kind of a
A vaudeville type of show.
vaudeville,
He's gonna bring
chick
up
with
character.
big chi-chis. Yeah. But it was that kind of act, and I didn't know what to expect when we had him, and then he sold clean.
Yeah.
We had him, I don't know.
We had him
Probably
5 shows, and then we added a
like
6.
we've had him like 5 weeks
Yeah.
in the Ontario club.
Yeah.
We
And he did great. He did great. And
Amazing.
and now Spanish comedy is now Live Nation.
Is he still alive?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He's still working. He's
'Cause
still touring.
He was pretty old a few years ago.
Yeah. So
Pretty
he's,
old.
He's still
Great
he's
guy,
still
though.
kicking. Great guy. Still touring, but that was a conversation we had years ago. Remember, I told you this is gonna make it,
This
man.
is what we need to do.
This is what we need to do.
And I pitched it.
Yes.
Pitched it.
And but
Got ignored.
exactly. But they're not gonna realize it till then everybody takes advantage of it, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, you were right."
It's not how this industry works.
How does it work? What do you think is gonna happen now? What do you think happens
it's
to
going to stay the
Spanish comedy?
same. Well, it's not who has the idea; it's who puts it out.
Mm-hmm.
Spanish comedy is going to continue to grow. Comedy itself, with theaters, I don't know what's going to happen with COVID. What's going to, with opening up theaters and big rooms, and
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. But
Well, I mean, do you think we would ever go back to the Microsoft Theater? I mean, we're there now. They've opened up, and of course, spikes in COVID. Like the Grupo Firme and all these big events are happening at the Staples Center, and these big events are happening at the Microsoft
well, the
Theater.
thing
and-
is, there's so many people that don't care about COVID, and there's so many people that are really protective. You're going to sell out no matter what.
yeah,
Meaning, there's enough people that will go see something that aren't worried about COVID as there are, just because a group is worried about catching
Yeah.
or carrying or giving or whatever, vaccinated, non.
So a Phil Collins concert is not going to be sold out.
Yeah, well, there's enough people
Enough people.
that like Phil Collins.
Okay.
Okay, did you say Phil Collins because I'm old?
I wanted to use a reference that you would get. But yeah, I get it. I get it. They're not gonna go get COVID. I'm 65. I don't want to go get COVID. I get it. But it is good. It's
Garth
gonna
Brooks just
Garth
canceled a tour
Did he?
because of COVID.
Yeah, well,
This was
his fan
pretty
base, his fan base will die. But that, and because what's his name? Tom Segura keeps giving him shit. What is it with
Yeah,
him?
I don't know.
Garth Brooks.
Segura, Louisiana, build a wall around it. Oh, it's so fun.
What do
So
you
funny.
would you mind taking in letters from people or emails?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, asking questions. I mean, I think that's important
Sure.
too. If people are watching us, things that they're wondering in terms of, I mean, these are things that we're coming up with, things that I think would be important for comedians to find out. In terms of bringing,
That would help, I
if you
think.
guys send us questions, guys, we would gladly read them out. We'll have Nick actually read them out, and then we'll answer them. In terms of liquor in the clubs, what happens to a comedy club if a comedian brings in liquor?
It's kind of a no-no. It's a state law that they can't do that.
Mhm.
Does it happen? Yes. The thing that's really worrisome from a club's point of view is if a minor's in there,
Okay.
and there's alcohol, somebody drinks, a minor drinks, goes out and gets in a wreck and
Says they got
kills
at the
somebody or
improv.
whatever. I was drinking at the improv. It's a nightmare. You shouldn't bring in alcohol to a room. That's another way to get banned as far as
Okay.
an opening name. You don't, unless you have a relationship with that club. We had a monthly Wednesday night show in Ontario. It was kind of a dirty show,
Uh-huh.
and they would bring in. We'd let them bring in sponsors, and they'd bring in, coolers of beer, and
Yeah.
yeah, as long as it's out in the open. If you're sneaking in stuff,
And,
That's a
yeah, as
problem.
long as you know, and you know it's a special night and it's a sponsored, I guess that's different. But you have to clear it with the club, not
absolutely.
sneaking in.
You don't want to.
Yeah,
Don't mess with the liquor licenses. It's
yeah,
in the brand. It's not worth it. I'd rather lose a comic that's going to blow up than take a chance of.
Have
having
you
something
ever
happen.
had problems with sexual harassment with the comedians
Yes.
in terms of green
Yes.
rooms? Yes,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
Like, can you do anything about it? I mean, did they ever get to the point where you had to call the cops? No,
I handle it.
you handled it.
Well, I did. That's when I was the GM in Ontario.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But a comic did get out of hand. I mean, what is it? Just like come here, baby, or
Yeah.
that was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but
I love the explanations.
The server was upset and
of
felt
course.
violated,
Uh-huh.
and you just handle it. At least we did. This is all prior to
Me
how things
too.
are going now.
Me Too movement.
Yeah.
No,
prior to
I totally understand because I think one of the things that really needs to get covered, especially in the service industry, especially when you're dealing with comedians. I mean, if you're dealing in a job where everybody's sober is fine, but now a comedian comes in a little tipsy, club owners never mind. They're like, oh, whatever, he's a little tipsy, but he's fine. He can do the show. Fuck it. You understand? And it's promoted. Would you like me to get you something to drink? You want a beer? I'm gonna get you some whiskey, whatever you want. You're there facilitating this. So he keeps drinking. At the end of the night, he says something inappropriate to the young lady. She can say, "Hey, you're the club owner that kept giving him drinks, and you knew he was already
That's
drinking."
a super fine line.
Do you understand? But still,
yeah.
but okay.
It's
Did you make me feel comfortable as an employee to come to you and tell you, "Hey, this guy got out of hand," when I know that you were the one giving him the liquor, and the reason he's getting out of hand is because he's drunk now? Are you gonna take my side here?
absolutely. However,
How do I know this as an employee?
However, just like in a guest complaint, when they're like, my server called me a MF or whatever, and even if the server did or didn't in front of everybody, I'm going to take the side of the guest, no matter what. No matter if Nick's the server and Nick's like, man, these people are rude, they stiffed me, whatever, I'm going to still side with the guest, at least on face value. But then we'll talk off to the side and know how I support my team. But in front of the view of the guest, I need to make sure that the guest is always right.
Okay.
So with a comic, based on the level of the comic, same
So
thing.
if the comic is famous, let's say he was Kevin Hart famous, and he
Kevin Hart
stepped.
wouldn't do that though.
No, I know he wouldn't.
Okay.
But at that level, we're talking about a comedian, because not all comedians that are at that level are nice, like
By
Kevin
the
Hart.
time they get to that level, we know who
Are the touchy
those
ones?
comics are, and we will usually put, for example,
Uh-huh.
we put a male on the green room, a male server.
Yeah, go touch that.
You know, they, them, whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's we're going to put the opposite of what they're looking for.
Yeah, I get it.
handling
I get
So-
it. So you know the story, so you know, okay, we got to be careful with this guy.
Oh, there's
So you do the best
no
to
question.
protect them.
we do the best
Yeah.
to protect not only the staff but the artist.
Mhm.
'Cause
And
people
that-
can make stuff up too.
And I tell you this because I do these sexual harassment prevention training courses during the week. And I go to these companies, and I've already spoken to a lot of the clubs, and I tell them, guys, you especially, the way California is going right now by law, any company with 6 or more employees has to,
You got to be trained.
provide sexual harassment
Every
prevention
2
training
years.
every 2 years. So in a club where you serve them drinks, they are going to easily cross that line with your employees. And if your employees don't feel safe, like what you said, at what level do you say something to the comedian and you ignore it? How do I feel safe that you're protecting me?
No,
You're
a club operator would always deal with it, but it depends on what they would share with their staff. Like,
exactly.
I would handle things differently, but I would handle it in
Closed doors.
You praise in public, and then
Uh.
if you're chewing out somebody, you do that privately.
Okay. Yeah. But that for me has always been tricky. As a guy that does these trainings, I go, man, comedy clubs have it tough because, like you said,
It's tough because
not
yeah.
everybody's a nice guy. Not every comedian's a nice guy. Because I'm pretty sure you've had those guys too.
yeah, we have comics that are total douchebags.
You know what I mean?
But
So
then
you
they
have to-
walk on stage and they're a different person. Nobody knows. That's okay. I don't blast anybody.
yeah, it's okay. That's who they are. I had moments where I was a feature and they tell me wait outside. Okay. You wait
Yeah,
outside?
that's another thing.
What?
Is say you have a first show and there's another show, a bigger name coming, get out of the green room.
Yeah.
It's not your green room
It's
anymore.
not your
Once
green
your
room.
show's over, well, it depends on what level you are.
Yeah.
If Kevin Hart walks in, that's his green room. Doesn't matter if you're on stage.
Yeah.
All your stuff is out.
Yes.
That's what he
Really.
wants. Yeah.
Even if you're still there, let's say Kevin Hart shows up.
It's never happened, but yeah, if Kevin Hart walked in,
Let's say
said, "Hey,
I'm not on.
I need privacy in this green room," we would literally take everything out.
Yes. And let's say
Gabriel Iglesias, absolutely. He
Have
wouldn't
you-
do that either.
he wouldn't do that. No, I know. But have you ever had a moment where another big headliner wanted another headliner out of the green room, and now they're both going
really-
like, "Wait,
it's really tough because there have been times when
hold on, I don't want you to
All right,
answer.
all right,
We're
hear me
gonna
out.
answer
Oh, okay.
it when we come back next week, bro. We're gonna have to end it. We're gonna have to.
Okay.
Where are we at right now? Where are we at?
About an hour 30.
An hour 30? Yeah, that's good. I want to come back to this question. When have you had two headliners? But and see if we can find out names. They were like, oh, how do I
need to
deal
talk
with it?
My attorney. Before I say that. I don't know the line where it is when
where I can say it all tell book. But no, I think this is a good start. This is basically what we're talking about, guys. Where we come in, I asked Clark all these questions because he has been in the business for 20 years, so he has a clear understanding of how these clubs work. In terms of percentage, I know some of it might be for you a little boring, but the numbers, once you start dealing with your career as a real comic and you have to pay bills and you have to fucking negotiate those ticket sales, those are important things to know. Where is it fair for a club? So for me as a comedian, I don't want them also to suffer. I want this to be an ongoing relationship. And I have to also give a little. So it's not always just give and take. And then when are you ready to go get a manager? Other than that, you just have a friend hanging out with you doing your shit.
I'm giving you a ride to the club.
Yeah, you call him Manny. All right, guys. Anything
All right.
else you want to say, Clark, before we leave?
No, I got it. I appreciate it. And,
All right, guys.
lots of info.
Well, thank you very much.